Hi everyone. In the previous video, we had learned how to create a list, access elements of list using indexing. We also learned about list slicing and the functions which accepts list as argument. In today's video lecture, we're going to dive deep into some essential list methods in Python. We'll cover how to add elements to a list, how to remove elements from the list, as well as some other methods, which are provided by list. Now, in order to add elements to a list, Python list supports three methods. We have append, which adds elements at the end. We have insert, and we also have extend. In order to remove the elements from the list, it provides us two methods, the pop method and the remove method. And along with this, we'll also be studying about the other methods like reverse. Then we'll also learn about the index and the count method. So let's begin. Let us consider a list which is empty. Now, I would like to add an element here. If you'd like to add an element into a list, we can use the list object name, which is your named as names, dot, we can use append. Append will add the element at the end of the list. I can pass on some names here. The first element will be added. Again, I'll try to write append. Let me try to add the next element and one more element. Right. So this one will basically add Sikandar first, then Nihad will be added after Sikandar, then Purushottam will be added after Nihad. So if you want to verify this, we can quickly visualize this here. We can just observe line number 6 creates an empty list, 7 adds one element, 8 adds a new element after the first element, or I can say at the end, then the line number 9 adds a new element at the end. So we learned about the append, which adds a new element at the end. Now, if you want to add an element at a specific index, it provides me an insert method. The syntax of the insert method is, it basically takes two arguments. The first argument being the index and second argument is the element what you want to insert. Example, names dot insert. Let us say I'd like to insert a new element at index 1, which is the second element. I'd like to add some name. Okay. Now this element will be added at index 1. Let's quickly verify this. Here, first three elements gets added. After that, see this element, the string Jitesh, will be added at index 1. That is after index 0. Okay, that is after Sikandar at this particular place. It will not overwrite this element. Instead, all these elements will be shifted towards the right. So you can just observe a new element was added at index 1 and other elements were shifted. So we learned about insert. Now, it also provides us a method called as extend. The extend method is basically used in case if you want to add the elements of one list, or you can say another iterable object, into an existing list. Like for example, let us consider one more list. Let us say we have names of some new joinees. Let us say Athira, and then let's say Arun. Strings can be represented in single quotes or double quotes. It does not make any difference. Now I'd like to add all the elements of this into the list names. So how do we do it? Names dot extend, right? Pass on this. All the elements of this iterable object will be added to this one by one. So let's quickly have a look at this. So here you can just observe. Here we have the list. So please do observe, as of now, the first list has 4 elements, second list has 2 elements. Now the elements of the second list will be added at the end as 2 independent elements out here. You can see one by one, these elements are added with the help of extend. Now let's look into the concept of removing the elements. As I said before, the Python list provides us two methods to remove the elements. The first one is the pop method. The pop method removes and returns an item from the list. By default, it removes the last element. If I just use names dot pop, if I do this, this will basically remove the last element. The last element in this case was Arun. Now, in case if you don't want to remove the last element, instead you want to remove an element at specific index. So in that case, we can also specify the index. Let us say I'd like to remove the element at index 1, right? So whatever the element index you specify, it's going to remove the element at the specified index. Let's quickly verify this. So till here, we already done this step by step. I do not like to do step by step here. Set a breakpoint. Okay. So here you will see elements added. Now, with respect to pop, the first one we are removing the last element. The last element here is Arun. So this one will be removed, right? And then next, I'd like to remove the element at index 1. The element at index 1 is Jitesh. So let's observe that. So you can just observe the element at index 1, Jitesh, was removed. So we learned about how do we use the pop method, right? Now, next I would like to demonstrate how do we use remove method. The remove method is used to delete an item by value. Like for example, I'd like to remove, let's say Purushottam. Okay, I don't know at which index Purushottam is present, but wherever Purushottam is present, I'd like to remove that. Okay, so we basically pass the value here, it searches for that particular value, and then it deletes that particular element. In case if there are multiple occurrences of the given value, it will delete the first occurrence of this particular value, right? Let's quickly verify this. Till here, we have already seen, so I don't want to do step by step. Line number 15 will remove Jitesh. Now this is the list what we have. Now Purushottam is at index 2, but I did not specify the index, I specified the name. It's going to look out for the name Purushottam, and then it's going to remove this. And you can just observe that element is removed. Okay, right. So we learned how do we add elements to the list using 3 methods: append, insert, and extend. And how do we remove elements with the help of pop and remove. The next thing is, if you want to search for an element, if you just want to know if the element is present or not, we can always use the in operator. We can specify the key value in, we can pass on the list. Okay, just to reduce this statement, I'm just removing these things. So here, let us say I'd like to search, for example, Jitesh is present in the list or not. Okay, and then similarly, I'd like to search for some other name. Let's say Bhavani is present in the list or not. Okay, so let's come till here where I do have a list of 6 elements. Now I'm searching for like Jitesh is present in the list or not. I could see Jitesh is present and it returned true. The next one, I'm trying to search for if Bhavani is present in the list or not. Is Bhavani present? No, Bhavani is not present in this. In that particular case, it returns me false. Okay, the in operator basically returns me true or false. But if you want to know if the element is present, at which index it is present, then in operator does not solve my task. So we have to take the help of index method, right? The index method will accept the key. Like for example, I'd like to search for Jitesh. Okay, this method returns the position of the first occurrence of the specified value, right? The first occurrence. So what is the index of Jitesh? So first, come down till here. As of now, Jitesh is at present at index 1. So you can just observe it returned me 1. Like you can also search for any other name. Like for example, I'd like to search for Sikandar. So in this case, I'd like to jump here. After this, Sikandar is present at index 0. Fine. Okay. Now, what happens in case the element what you want to search, if that is not present? In that case, it throws me an exception. The exception will be value error. Like for example, I'd like to search for Bhavani. And as I know Bhavani is not present, and line number 17, you can just observe it is throwing me an error telling that value error, Bhavani is not in list. Okay. So in case the element is not present, it throws an exception. We can handle the exceptions, which we'll study about in later sessions. Okay. Now, there is one more method called as count, which tells me how many times a particular element is present. Like names.count. If I search for any string, and as I know that as of now, I have every element occurring only once. So if the element is present, it returns me the number of times that is present. In case if the element is not present, it returns me 0. So I'd like to directly jump till here. List is created. First one, the count returned me Sikandar is present 1 time. And Bhavani is not present, return me 0. Okay, right. So if we want, we can also try to understand, like I can always pass on this with a string also. Let us say we have a string, like, or you can consider the numbers where we have some duplicates. Okay, here, since I have duplicates, I'd like to write numbers dot count. I'd like to check out how many times 12 is present. As I can see, 12 is present 3 times. And the same way, I'd like to check out how many times 2 is present. 2 is present once. I'd like to count the number of times 5 is present. And as you could see that 5 is not present. So I'll try to write 12 is present. How many times? This number of times. Okay. Same way, you can just message out here 2 is, yeah. In case if it is 0, we need to assume that is not present. If you want, we can always write an elaborated one where we can check the return value. If the return value is 0, we can say that it is not present. In case if it is any positive value, then we can say that that is present, and we can specify how many times it is present. Trying to execute the entire thing out here at one shot. I could see that it says 12 is present 3 times, 2 is present 1 time, and 5 is present 0 times. Okay, right. The last method I'd like to discuss in this video is about reverse. Okay, if I have a list and I would like to reverse the elements of the list, I have a reverse method. I can use names.reverse. This will reverse all the elements of the list. The same way, I'd like to write nums.reverse, and you can try to print before reversing. You can print the entire list. I am removing this statement. This is my names before reversing, and this is my numbers before reversing. And the same thing after reversing, I'd like to check out. This is after reverse, and this was before reverse, or you can say original list. Right, let's quickly verify this. So first till here, I'd like to directly do. I don't want to do step by step. This is the list what I have. Now I'd like to print the original list. So you can see the original list out here. Now I'd like to reverse. You could also see this out here. So observe, names.reverse. The last element will come first and the first element will last. You can just see it is completely in reverse order. Now you can also see for the numbers. So 12, 12, 4, 6, 2, 2, 12, 7 will become 7, 12, 2, 6, 4, 12, 12. Observe, we reversed it, and then I'm trying to print this. The reversed elements. Right? I printed the names. I need to print the nums. Okay. So I hope the concept what we discussed is clear in this particular video. A quickly summary, like we learned how do we insert with the help of append, insert and extend. We learned how do we remove the elements using pop as well as remove. And then we learned the in operator to search for an element. We also learned about the index method, then the count method and the reverse method. Thank you.